we are going to prepare a multi-step income statement using a trial balance. So this is one of your guarantees. On your final exam, you will be given a trial balance and you will have to prepare an income statement. And that income statement will be a multi-step income statement. And what makes a multi-step is that we're going to stop along the way and prepare different kinds of incomes. We're going to do gross profit, we're going to do operating income, we're going to go income before taxes, and finally, the bottom line, net income. So the thing to remember is, even though there's a bunch of stuff on here, you are only going to have to worry about the revenues and the expenses, because this is an income statement. So none of that. And in this case, we only have one kind of revenue. Sometimes you have some other revenues that go down at the bottom in your after your operating income, but in this case, all we have is revenue and some cost of goods sold. Of course, you'll have that, so you can do gross profit. And then administrative and selling, and on your exam I'll have to put in brackets which are which, because otherwise you wouldn't know. This one doesn't even have any tax expense, but yours might. So remember, tax expense waits till the very end. It's neither admin or selling. So if you see an expense on here that's not admin, not selling, you know it goes in the other, or it's tax expense. All right. Well, let's just get started. I have a header up here, Ocean Art Supply income statement for the year ending December 31, 2016. So you always start out with the net sales revenue. And we will just put that at the very top, the top line, net sales revenue. And it is $73,000. All right, next comes cost of goods sold, which is an expense. So expenses are subtracted, right? So you take this revenue and you take this, oops, I'm sorry, I wrote cost of goods sold as it, so this is 196. Terrible, 196. Can't even read. Don't you do like me. Cost of goods sold is $73,000. All right. So remember, that's a subtract. If you want to put brackets, that's fine. You don't have to. 196 minus 73 is 123,000. All right. And we have to label that, and that is called gross profit. That's really important. That's one of the most important numbers we calculate. All right, so now that we've done the gross profit, 123, now we're going to calculate what we call the operating income. So to do that, we start with our operating expenses. I'm going to make a category here, operating expenses. And the first kind of operating expenses we're going to start with are our selling expenses. So we make another little subcategory, selling expenses. And we find those, and here they are, sales commission and supplies. All right, so sales commission is $8,500. And supplies expense is $500. And so we're going to total those. They're $9,000. And we're going to call that total selling expenses. Matches this, right? Okay, there you go, 9,000. Now we're going to do our admin expenses. Okay, and we've got two of those. Salaries expense which is 21,000. And what's the other one? Rent expense. Rent expense, 14,000. You total those up, and that's going to be called total administrative expenses. And they are totaling 35,000. So 9,000. So this is going to give us our total operating expenses, right? Right, 9,000 plus 35,000 is 44,000, right? And remember, this is expenses, so you're going to subtract it up here from that gross profit. So 123,000 minus 44,000 is 79,000, right? And that is called operating income, right? That's our gross profit minus our operating expenses, and we call that operating income. Right? Income from operations. You may recall from your cash flow statement that that's important to keep track of. Operating income. All right. Now, if we had other revenues and expenses, we'd put them here. Other revenues or expenses, they would be in brackets, right, because they're expenses, and they would go here, but they're zero, right? And you would just list them here if you had them, and then you would net them out, right? Add revenues, subtract expenses, net them out and put them there, but they're zero, so that's still 79,000, and that's called income before taxes. Right? And then you have income tax expense. And in this case, it's zero. Probably might not be. It's not in real life very often. So then you have 79,000, and that is the net income, right? And that's what we're going for. And don't forget to label things properly, right? Gross profit is real important. Don't just call it total, right? Every time you have a title like operating expenses, selling expenses, you'll have a total, right? Selling expense, operating total, right? So make sure this is the point, really. The math is not really the point. It's pretty easy. The point is knowing where things go and how to label them. Okay? All right.